If you've been scouring the internet looking for the most affordable homes in Texas, you're not alone. With no state income tax, affordable homes, and excellent health care, Texas has attracted more than 17.2% of new residents. But living in Texas might not be as easy as it sounds.
This is hard.
Currently, the median home price in Texas is just over $365,000, according to Zillow, making it a little bit out of reach for quite a few. The reality is that Texas is just not as affordable as it used to be.
That sounds expensive.
Sure, the home prices here in Texas might seem lower to a lot of you watching. However, over the last 2 to 4 years, a lot of the major metro areas and surrounding suburbs have seen a great increase in home values, property taxes, homeowners insurance, not to mention flood insurance, which is why it's so important to talk to a local lender to figure out what that monthly payment is going to be with taxes and insurance, and not get so fixated over that low sticker price. Today, we're going to be discussing several cities in Texas that have come up on multiple lists as having the cheapest homes, what types of homes these areas have to offer, and some things you need to consider if you're planning on moving to one of these affordable areas. And at the end, I'll be revealing a few additional picks
in case you needed additional incentive.
So be sure to stick around. First on our list is Abilene, Texas. Now, Abilene, Texas has a population just over 127,000 residents, and it's located in central Texas. Now, the median sales price in Abilene is just under $250,000, making it $115,000 less than the median home price in Texas. And if you find yourself moving to this affordable city, be sure to bring your paddleboard and kayak so you can have lots of fun on Lake Fort Phantom. And while you're there, you're also going to want to take a look at the Abilene Zoo, as well as explore downtown with all the local mom and pop shops and museums like the Grace Museum. Like I mentioned earlier, Abilene has a median home price of just under $250,000. The average price per square foot is going to be right around $149 a square foot. The average rent for a one-bedroom apartment is going to be right around $750. The median household income in this area is $52,518. The nearest major metro area is going to be the Dallas-Fort Worth area, which is located 150 miles to the east of Abilene. Abilene ISD has a B+ rating according to niche.com and was rated the second best district in Taylor County. Next up is Wichita Falls. Now, Wichita Falls is situated in the panhandle of Texas, meaning, if you were to take the state of Texas and grab it by a handle, that would be like the northern section right there on the handle. Get it? Panhandle. Anyway, Wichita Falls is one of the more popular destinations on our list. Now, Wichita Falls has a population of just over 102,000 residents, and it experiences, I would say, 4 seasons when it comes to Texas. You're going to get snow, you're going to get sleet, you're going to get hail, you're going to get thunderstorms, you're going to get tornadoes. It's basically the same type of weather that you would see in like southern or mid Oklahoma. It's also home to Midwestern State University, and there's lots of things to do and explore, like visiting the scenic beauty over in Lucy Park, visiting the Wichita Falls Museum of Art over there at Midwestern State University. There's also the Museum of North Texas History that you'll want to check out, and there's lots of things to do around Lake Wichita, whether it's boating, fishing, or hiking. The median home price in Wichita Falls is one of the lowest on our list at just over $213,000. The average sales price per square foot is right around $95. The average rent for a one-bedroom apartment is going to be $791. The median household income for this area is $47,335. The nearest major metro area to this city is going to be Oklahoma City, located about 139 miles northeast of Wichita Falls. Wichita Falls ISD has a B+ rating according to niche.com, and it's rated the 4th best district in Wichita County. Next on our list is Lubbock, Texas. Now, if you want to live out in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the desert, In a college town, Lubbock has to be on your list. With a population just over 263,000 residents, which I'm sure fluctuates with students coming in and out, there is plenty to do in Lubbock. That's probably because there's nothing to do outside of Lubbock. But all in all, guys, I've been there and it's a great city. Whether you plan to explore the exhibits at Texas Tech University or visit the Buddy Holly Center to learn about the musician's life and legacy as he was born and raised in Lubbock. You can also enjoy a stroll through the historic district in downtown Lubbock with lots of local mom and pop shops, restaurants, and of course, because it's a college town, you're going to have several entertainment options as well. The median home price in Lubbock is right around $230,000. The average sales price per square foot is $83. The average rent for a one-bedroom apartment is $716. The median household income is right around $47,335. The nearest major metro area is going to be Amarillo, which is located 122 miles straight north from Lubbock. And Lubbock ISD has a B+ rating according to niche.com and is rated the 11th best district in that area. Next on our list is Pasadena, Texas, not California. Now, Pasadena, Texas is located just southeast of Houston with a population of just over 140,000 residents. Pasadena is a really great option for those looking for more of a mid-size city, especially one that's so close to a major metro area. And if you find yourself moving to the city, make sure you take in all the views over at Clear Lake Park and explore the trails at the Armand Bayou Nature Center. And not only that, but you're not too far away from the NASA Johnson Space Center, or really the beach for that matter. The median home price in Pasadena, Texas is right around $256,000. Average sale price per square foot is $153 a square foot. The average rent for a one-bedroom apartment is $963. The median household income for this area is $57,781. The nearest major metro area is Houston, which is what we've been talking about, which is located 15 miles northwest of this area. Pasadena ISD has a B rating according to niche.com, and it's rated the 31st best district in the Houston area. Next up is Killeen, Texas. Now, if you've been living in Texas for some time, you probably know of Killeen. This affordable place is home to about 159,000 residents, most of which I assume would be military, and has a median home price about $110,000 less than the state's average. Killeen is a major military hub, being home to Fort Hood, so there are lots of military jobs and opportunities there for veterans. And while you're there, be sure to explore the exhibits and artifacts over at the 1st Cavalry Division Museum. And if you do end up living in Killeen, you want to take advantage of the Stillhouse Hollow Lake, which offers lots of boating, fishing, and hiking around that specific area. The median home price in Killeen is just over $255,000. The average sale price per square foot is $140. The average rent for a one-bedroom apartment is going to be $575. The median household income for the area is $50,335. The nearest major metro is going to be Austin, located 70 miles south of Killeen. Killeen ISD has a B rating according to niche.com, and it's rated the 7th best district in Bell County. Next up is Waco, Texas. Waco is a relatively small community with a population just over 143,000 residents, but just because it's small doesn't mean there are things to do, and there are lots of things to do in Waco. If you're in town, you want to make sure you visit the Waco Mammoth National Monument so that you can take a look at some of those preserved mammoth fossils. And if you enjoy taking strolls, you'll definitely want to stroll through Cameron Park, which is located right next to the Brazos River. I would say one of the biggest draws to the city is the Magnolia Market, where I guess you could say hello to Chip and Jo if you wanted to. But there are also several museums in the area, with the Dr. Pepper Museum, the Texas Rangers Hall of Fame and Museum, and the Mayborn Museum Complex. The median home price in Waco is just over $279,000. The average sale price per square foot is $169. Average rent for a one-bedroom apartment is $1,200. The median household income in Waco is $40,349. The nearest major metro area is going to be Fort Worth, which is part of Dallas-Fort Worth, which is located 90 miles north of Waco. And Waco ISD has a B- rating according to niche.com. All right, next we're going to briefly talk about the types of homes in these areas and kind of what you're going to find. Now, all these areas are going to have single family homes, so there's no need to worry about that specifically. However, some of the cities that are more college towns like Lubbock or Waco, some of those cities, or maybe even the cities that are closer to Dallas and Fort Worth or closer to Houston like Pasadena, those areas are where you're going to see more townhouses and condos. Now, some of these cities that are located out in the middle of nowhere, not really close to much of anything, you're not going to really see that housing type. You will see, though, more in those areas that are further out or just kind of further away from everything else. You will see more manufactured mobile homes in probably those types of areas because the homes are going to be probably a little bit more spaced out. There's going to be more land and more people looking for affordable housing options with that. Now, a couple of quick pros and cons about these different housing types. Now, if you are looking to purchase a single family home, for me, I feel like that is going to be your best investment. It is going to appreciate the most of all of the other different housing types. So single family for me would be the way to go. However, if that's not what you're looking for and you're looking for more of a lock and leave or a temporary place to stay, maybe a condo or a townhouse might be a little bit better suited for you. But here are a couple of pros and cons when it comes to those things. So with the townhouse and condo, it is definitely better than renting an apartment. They're usually built better than an apartment, so that's another big pro to those types of things. You will have amenities. You can do more of a lock and leave type situation. So some of these college areas where you're not having to mow your lawn, you're not having to upkeep a lot of the exterior maintenance that falls on someone else. Kind of the flip side to those condos and to those townhomes are going to be your HOAs, right? HOAs are so lovely, right? You can have a good one and you can have a not so good one. You can have a good one, but then it can be managed very poorly. So there's just lots of things to consider with the HOA. So the HOA can be increased at any moment. Drop of a hat, they can charge you assessments on different things that come up. Maybe the pool needs to be fixed. Maybe there could be people that are running the HOA that don't even live in that specific complex, to me, which is just, it's just bonkers or crazy that that would even be a thing or that you could do that. But I mean, the flip side of it is that they are managing the exterior of the property. Usually studs in is the good rule of thumb for condos and townhouses. The difference between the two would meaning usually the townhouse you own the land underneath, and the condo you don't really own anything underneath. You just own your unit and then partial ownership of all of the grounds and amenities and stuff that you share with the residents. So just be aware that if you are looking to do a townhouse or a condo, it is better than an apartment, but on the flip side, you may have to battle with your HOA a little bit. So just kind of keep that in mind. So manufactured homes and mobile homes, you could see this in some of these areas. This would be a little bit more affordable option, but you kind of want to consider a couple of things. First, how far outside of town is it? How old is the manufactured home is a big one because it may not even be manufactured. It could have been moved. And a lot of the building standards, I want to say like post 76, if it's older than that, maybe even the 80s. I can't remember exactly the year. There's a certain year where the building codes and the standards really weren't that great for manufactured homes or mobile homes. Usually lending on these types of properties can get a little bit tricky. You just have to find the right lender that will help you with that type of thing. And you also want to make sure that you have the right insurance when it comes to this type of property, because if you do see a lot of hail or wind or tornadoes in a specific area, you might want to consider, putting in a storm shelter or having something like that in place if you live in this type of property. That would probably be the same if you live in a condo or a townhouse either, because those have multiple levels. You just want to make sure that you have a good place to go in the case of some sort of weather emergency. Now, if you're looking at any of these areas and you're just not really sure what to do, please feel free to reach out to me All of my contact information is in the description below. I can connect you to several agents in these specific areas and cities that can help you find what you're looking for. Next are things that you really need to consider when you're looking to make a purchase in these more affordable areas. First up, when you're researching the city, you want to make sure that you look at the job opportunities and the economics for that specific area. For example, if it is a college town and most of the economy is dependent on that college, what happens if that college shuts down, closes its doors, has financial issues or struggles? It's going to affect the economy of the entire city. The other thing is, a lot of these cities, especially in Texas, if oil is the prime suspect and target and driver of the economy, you want to make sure that if the oil runs out or something happens to the oil industry in that city, that you're not left high and dry. Obviously, with job opportunities, there could be some there locally that could dry up or become non-existent if there is a shift or a change in the economics. But I do realize that post-pandemic, a lot of jobs right now are remote. So making sure that you have a good, solid internet connection is equally as important. The next thing you want to look at are the local schools in the area. Now, if you are of the age where you do not have school-aged kids, congratulations. You may or may not need to worry about this. However, sometimes the local schools in the area are a reflection of the community. Now, that's not necessarily true 100% of the time, but the local schools in the area will paint a pretty clear picture of what you can expect. Now, if the schools are rated lower or ranked lower, you really need to go and investigate that specific school. You need to look at the TEA website. I'll have that linked in the description below. The Texas Education Agency is what that stands for. You'll also want to go into the school in person, talk to the principal, talk to the teachers. Make sure that you understand what you're getting into if you're enrolling your child in that specific school. Now, other than the public school systems, there are also charter and private school options that will be available in these areas as well. You want to make sure that you do your due diligence, you're investigating on those schools as well, because they may actually be a better fit. Co-ops are also a big, huge thing with the homeschooling community. There could be several co-ops, especially closer to some of these major, metro areas that you could become a part of and you could really benefit from when it comes to homeschooling. The next thing to consider when you are looking at a specific city to relocate to, especially if it's one of these on our list, is the actual location and how close it is to everything else. You have to be okay with being out in the middle of nowhere if you're going to be in a city that's out in the middle of nowhere. So Lubbock is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Lubbock is in the desert. It has more of a deserty climate, dry heat, right? And so around it is going to be obviously mostly desert. So if you're traveling, west, going further into West Texas, there's going to be a whole lot of desert. If you're going east from Lubbock, there's going to be a whole lot of nothing until you get to some of these larger cities that are on the map. So just kind of keep that in mind. If you're really okay with being that isolated, then you're good to go. Because pretty much everything that you need is going to be in that city. And so if you're okay with that, then you're good to go. You also kind of want to investigate new construction in the area. Is there a lot of new construction that's starting to be built in that specific city? If there is, that's probably a pretty good sign that the builders are kind of depending and predicting that this area is going to grow and continue to grow. If you don't see a whole lot of new construction, that could be kind of a red flag to be like, maybe this city is not as booming and it's not growing as much as we would like it to. Now, some people do like a smaller community and want it to stay small, and that's fine. So if that's what you want, you go for it. But if there's not a whole lot of growth and not a whole lot of new construction and not a lot of new things that are happening, it's going to kind of stagnate housing prices usually in that specific area, because just a whole lot of people aren't really interested in that area or interested in that city. And that could be fine for you and your family. I just want to make you aware that usually you want to be in an area that has some sort of growth happening in the city. And the last thing you really need to investigate is the weather in that specific area. If you're moving to Pasadena, Texas, which is just south of Houston. Be prepared to experience a hurricane every now and then. Be prepared to experience humidity because you are so close to the Gulf of Mexico. So these are all things to consider if you're looking closer to Dallas-Fort Worth, or even like parts of North Texas. You're going to see a lot more tornadoes, strong winds. Hail is a big thing in North Texas. And then obviously if you live in a drier climate, like if you're moving to Lubbock, right, that's more of the drier heat. It's going to get hot, but it's going to be a dry heat. So it shouldn't feel, as disgusting, in my opinion, as like, 100 degrees in Houston versus 100 degrees in Dallas. I'm taking the Dallas one because it's a drier heat versus a humid heat. So that's just me personally, but everyone to each his own when it comes to the weather. But just be aware of different weather conditions that you're going to have to anticipate if you move to one of these cities. Now, here are a few bonus cities that almost made the list. They didn't make mine, but they were on several of these lists. So we've got El Paso that was almost on my list, Corpus Christi, Amarillo, and San Angelo. Now, if you want to see the full list that has I think 15 or 20 different cities in Texas that kind of came up on multiple searches and articles, you want to make sure to check out the description below. I'll have them all listed out for you so that if you want to investigate any of those further, you can do that. So what do you guys think? Did I really find the most affordable homes in Texas? Be sure to let me know in the comments below. I want to hear some other cities that you have researched that you just love and have found really, really affordable. And if you want to check out some more affordable options for you and your family, you want to watch this over here somewhere, this video right here. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you on the next video.